Good morning. This module is about decision making. We all make decisions every single day, don't we? At work, at home, in our lives. I think I don't. Well, decision. If you look at the definition of decisions, it's the process of examining your possible options, comparing them, and choosing and committing to a course of action. We're a collaborative environment, so decision making is a little more complex here. And it's defined as the process of examining options, comparing them, committing to a course of action in a group setting, which is inclusive of diverse perspectives and opinions. So, how often when you're making a decision do you stop really to think about the who, what, when, why, and how in your team meetings?
I think it depends on what the decision is being made, but I think because of the fact that you have so many different people coming with their opinions and their viewpoint, you have to stop. It causes you to stop.
And think about how you're going to make the decision. And do you employ different techniques? I mean, think about the techniques. You could make a decision on your own, right?
Sure.
You could compromise. You could gain consensus, right? Or you could actually collaborate, which is even further than consensus building. Do you ever stop and say, gee, should I make this decision on my own, or actually go through the process of what technique we're going to use?
I usually say to myself, this needs to be discussed with the team,
Right.
because I know that if I make the decision on my own,
Right.
it won't be the right one.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. I think that in our environment, it's really important to collaborate and reach a consensus rather than a compromise.
But let me ask, coming to this meeting today, did any of you collaborate on it, or did some of you just compromise and say, look, you go this time, I'll go next?
Well,
It just worked out
Yeah,
best this
worked
way.
out.
Yeah.
I don't think compromise happens too often.
It used to happen years ago.
Yeah.
We would hear, look, there was 3 people for it, or majority rules is another decision-making technique, which is probably the worst, right?
I agree.
Right.
Because somebody's voice is not
You're
heard,
right,
someone is
right.
ignored.
And someone's doing it against their will, so
Right.
their
Yeah.
whole heart is not in it.
Exactly.
The reason it's important to think about is we have seen some teams where the team meetings never stop. In those, it's not just the technique they use, but when the method they use and the amount of detail they go through to make a decision, it can be very painful. Have you ever been in one of those team meetings where it never stops the discussion?
Yeah.
It's painful, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the classic one is the 45 minutes, 3 or 4 times that week that they spent talking about, should the snack be put out 30, this was in your classroom,
Yeah.
you were in there,
Yeah.
should the snack be put out 30 minutes before the children wake up, or should we wait and put out the snack once the children are up so it's fresh?
Right.
It took forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was when we
Meeting
said,
after
this
meeting.
doesn't work.
Right. So it is important to think about, right, the how we make decisions here. Because the other thing is, there's sometimes in the classroom you make decisions where you, let's say on a parent communication, you don't want to be out there flapping in the wind by yourself. You want to make sure that your program director and Deborah have your back on it, right?
Right.
So they need to be involved in that decision to protect your reputation or your decision. So that's what this module is going to talk about, and thank you for being here today.